I am so excited about this broadcast. I haven't been around in a little while. I'm going to explain why, but mostly it's because sometimes I feel like coming on live and sometimes I don't. But I just got home from seeing the Mr. Rogers documentary in the theater, Won't You Be My Neighbor? And when I tell you that you have to see this movie, you absolutely have to make it a top priority to go out and see this movie. It is no exaggeration. I'll tell you who I am really quick. Hello, Jerry. How are you doing? Say hello as you're coming in and raise your hand and put your paws up in the air and say hi and where you're from and all that good stuff. My name is Rebekah Borucki. I'm a meditation guide and I have a website called BEXLIFE.com, BEXLIFE.com. There's links in the video description on how to find me, how to join my group coaching, how to access all the free amazing stuff that I have available for you, how to access my products. But before I go on, or actually to go on, I want to tell you why this movie resonated with me so deeply. And I'm sure that you've probably already heard about it and people have been raving about it, but I want to tell you why specifically it meant so much to me and how it really inspired me to continue on a path that I was unsure of. And this is especially for people who feel like they want to be of service in this world. Maybe you want to be a life coach, or you are a nutrition coach, or you're just someone who wants to change the world, who wants to affect positive change, who wants to influence people, who wants to help people. Why this movie was so important to me. First of all, there is a criticism, or the criticism of Mr. Rogers, is that he, by virtue of making every child feel special, he was telling children or people that they don't have to do anything special to be special, that they don't have to try hard. And I have found throughout my life, being a Mr. Rogers fan, and being someone who was taught and who believes deeply that we have inherent value as human beings, that message has the opposite effect. By being told that you have inherent value, that you are loved as is, that you are important no matter what, that you are deserving of love and affection and attention no matter what you do, that gives you a sense of courage and security that allows you to try big things and to take risks and to fail and to be okay with not being perfect. You're going to hear my ducks and my chickens because they're free ranging today. So they're all around like trying to chime in. Hey, Karen from Canada, how's it going? So I have spoken many times about the lesson that my mother gave me, or the message that she gave me, that God loves you as is, and you have this direct connection that no man can come in between, no man can break, and or no person, I say man as no human being can break. And that has allowed me to take a lot of risks and allowed me to speak very loudly about my message and my beliefs and to go out and help people even when I didn't feel like I was perfect. So I think that telling people that they have inherent value and loving them for who they are and seeing the potential in them, even if they're not doing anything spectacular, is a really wonderful thing. And that a culture of competition, of only valuing who is best, who wins a contest, is so dangerous, because you are not honoring all the other stages of the journey. You're not honoring all of the other accomplishments that are made along the way. So yeah, you are special just the way you are. And I like you just the way you are. And also, I always strive to be better because I want to be worthy of that love, and I want to feel worthy of affection. So I always strive to be better and to show up as my best self. So there's that. But the real lesson, and this is for anyone out there with a platform or who wants to make a big change in the world, and the message that I'm so excited about, is how Mr. Rogers got into television. And he was talking about his new discovery of television, and he didn't quite understand what it was, but it was very exciting for him. And he was noticing children's programming and how it was really appealing to the lowest common denominator of humor and of entertainment, and it wasn't serving children at all. He said that he was watching television and he saw people hitting each other in the face with pies, and there was this miraculous medium through which, to reach people, and it was being used for that. And I've heard him say it before, but it really struck a chord with me today because of something that I've been thinking about a lot with my own platform, and having a lot of conversations about body positivity and the way the fitness and wellness platforms hurt people by talking about ideals in body, in weight, and in looks, and giving these shortcuts to everything. And look, I am guilty of the 4-minute meditation, and I stand by it still. But all of these, like 3 days to like a healthier you, and 3 days to detox and to lose the fat. And I've done all of these things, and I'm going to tell you why. And none of it is a good excuse. So I thought about all of that. And I look at all of that junk food, the quick spirituality, the quick access to health and wellness as being a pie in the face. And it's so pervasive in my industry. And I don't want to do that anymore. And Mr. Rogers stepped forward with something that was intentional and thoughtful and slow. Someone said in the movie, in talking about Mr. Rogers, that he loved the quiet. And there were these empty spaces that he would allow for on his show, these like big empty spaces. But even though they were empty spaces, they weren't wasted space. It was empty space, but not wasted space. And I sat with that and I thought, what if I just continued? Not in like a Mr. Rogers style, because obviously I can't tone it down like that. Like, that's not who I am. But I just continued with what I believed was true and right, and what comes from a core belief, from an embodiment of what I believe is to be true and good and helpful and nourishing and healing. What if I just continue to come from that place, regardless of what it looks like? Because I spent a lot of years trying to be that pie in the face, trying to get people's attention, trying to be seen. And what I was doing was just creating a lot of noise. And you'll see if you look back at my past work, and I see that there's me vacillating between like wanting to be seen, but then wanting to tell the truth, and wanting to be seen and wanting to tell the truth. And then slowly over time, when I got more, chickens are fighting, got more courageous with my message, I leaned into just the truth telling as I saw it. And for me, it's really hard to pretend. It's super hard to pretend. So I want to do that. And I encourage you to do that. And Mr. Rogers had no idea what he was doing when he said, I'm going to produce this show, or I'm going to start talking to children. He only knew what he believed to be true, and how he wanted to feel as a child, and how he wanted people to communicate to him. And then he shared that. And that's also what was really beautiful. And his growth happened in the midst of that, in the midst of making the thing. So I was talking earlier today on Facebook and Instagram. I put up a couple posts about just getting started, like just doing the thing. I have a mantra that I use, that I offer to people: do the thing, don't die, repeat. And that's how courage is built. That's how you start to gain confidence. You don't gain confidence by sitting around and pondering how to be perfect and like making a plan, because you can spend all that time trying to be perfect and then execute the plan, and it sucks. Failing is a critical part of success. Something nearly, let's say 99% of the time, false statistic, not a real stat. Something has to be bad before it gets good. And the example that I used were my gym timer meditations. That's how I started on YouTube, because I wanted to find a way to communicate to people who had never meditated, who didn't know the value of it, didn't know the beauty in just sitting still and getting quiet and connecting with themselves. I wanted to find a way to tell those people that it was easy, that it was fun, that it was something that they could do. It didn't have to take a long time. So I did these 4-minute meditations, and I used the gym timer, and they were terrible. Like, they were so bad. It wasn't even representative of my meditation practice, but I just wanted to pull people in. So that was kind of like pie in the face meets a message that was really good, but I knew I just had to do it. So I was willing to fail. I was willing to fail forward. I was willing to fall down and learn and go forward. But the beauty of that is that I learned along the way. I learned by doing, and that hundreds of thousands of people watched those videos and subscribed to my YouTube channel and continued to follow me and follow along while I went deeper with them. And they were able to take it and run with it and go deeper within themselves. And there was a lot of beauty and truth that was shared in me failing. And so people would say to me, I really love these meditations, and I still get the comments every day. I love these meditations, but the timer is awful. And I'm like, I agree. I stopped doing it. And now I make better meditations. And I'll continue to make better ones as I go along. But there has to be this willingness to take the steps. There has to be a belief that there's a better outcome waiting for you, and that there's value in your voice and your message. And there has to be that action. So it's the willingness to do it, the willingness to open your heart and your mind, the willingness to see the possibility, the belief that it's for you, and then taking the action. And the belief that it's for you is super hard, because you sometimes have to get rid of a lot of like negative, the kids are crying and screaming and running, everything's okay. You have to let go of a lot of old stories for new stories to take root and to take their place. But you can do it. I'll use something very simple. There's a little mindset flip that's taught by life coaches a lot, and just people, and you might have heard this. Instead of saying, why me? Say, why not me? So like, how could this happen to me? Well, why wouldn't it happen? Why wouldn't something great happen for you? But I take it one step further and say, instead of why me, why not me, go to, of course me. Of course me. Of course I'm here to change the world. Of course I'm here to help facilitate other people's healing. Of course I have something important to say. Of course I can be successful and happy in doing that. Of course there are people out there willing to help me when I can't get as high as I want to go. Of course it takes a village to raise up anyone. Of course it's okay to ask for help and to be vulnerable. And of course that leads to success. Of course me. Of course me. And I think that that's what Mr. Rogers really taught us and children, that it wasn't that you're special for doing nothing, or that you're extraordinary for doing nothing. It's that because you have inherent value as a human being, because you are loved, because you are a manifestation of love, because you are an example of love and of kindness and of goodness and of courage, because you are those things inherently, you have that well to draw from to do great things. Of course you're going to do great things, because you were made to do great things. That to me is inspiring. That to me makes me want to go out and say stuff and do stuff. It doesn't make me want to sit down and be like, I'm so great, I don't have to do anything. So I think he got it right. And I think all of the people who are stuck in a competition mindset and needing to be measured by numbers, whether it's your weight or your bank account or however else you measure yourself by outside standards, instead of just looking at the love in your heart and the things that you want to do in this world and how you want to be and show up in this world, it's those people who are stuck there that are never going to be happy, because you can never be the best at anything. I used to say this in like old videos. I did a video with Cassie Ho from Blogilates, and it's like in my intro video, my trailer that I show on my website, that you can never be best at anything other than being yourself, or being yourself is the only thing that you can be the absolute best at, which is terrible grammar, but it's true. So I'm determined to be the best me for you, because what is for you is for me, and what is for me is for you. And when you hurt, I feel it. And when you feel joy, I rejoice in it. And to understand that connectedness and the critical nature of our existence in that connectedness. Understanding that what we do has a ripple effect. So when we do great things, and when we stand up and we take ownership of our space and we're intentional about it and loving with it, that really amazing things happen. I'm so touched by the lessons in the movie. And there was a lot of hard stuff discussed, including one of the longtime characters, Officer Clemens, who was a gay man and wasn't able to come out on the show, and even in real life, to an extent, because of the fear that it would collapse the show if people found out. And that was something that was very indicative of the time. The radical displays of anti-racism that Mr. Rogers brought forth with the way he interacted with people of color and centered them on his show and centered their experiences was really beautiful. The things he talked about with death and divorce and love and war and his anti-war stance. There's even a part in the movie where he talks about, or they talk about the episode where King Friday builds a wall to keep out the people who want to make change. And it's so timely even now, like his messages that he was putting out in the 60s, the late 60s during the Vietnam War are so timely now. So I'm just super excited for everyone to go see it and share it and love it. Tammy says, I want to go see this movie now. Tammy, you will love it. Tammy, who I believe you're a Christian woman. So I don't call myself a Christian. I call myself a Christ follower and a follower of all the ascended masters. But I think you will especially appreciate the expression of Mr. Rogers as a minister and how he really made the show his ministry in a way to reach people in a way that didn't feel exclusionary, in a way that he really drew everyone in this message of you're my neighbor and I love you as I love myself. So it was just really just the most touching. I sobbed for 2 hours. My husband was like, I just wanted to hug you because I'm not a crier. And especially the scenes that were coming out of the abuse and the harm and the discrimination against Black people in the 60s, where they were pouring bleach into public swimming pools. That just put me into hysterics. So I was kind of just like having like a silent sob, really trying to keep it together. But then how Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, reacted to it by inviting a Black man, his friend, to wade in the pool with him and to offer to share his towel with him, and to, in a later episode where they redid that scene, to dry off his feet for him, Mr. Rogers drying off Officer Clemens' feet. And it was just really just beautiful. And I just don't see how anyone with any kind of opinion that is nationalistic or racist or bigoted or xenophobic or homophobic can see this movie and not walk out feeling different, a little bit enlightened. I would hope, but I guess you have to have an open heart for that. So that's my hope, that people see it with an open heart. Hello, Christine Davila. Hello, Blanca. Hello, Kimberly, Tammy, Maria, Kyle, Kelly, Victor, Jessica, Ivan. I love that you guys showed up. Thank you so much for it. I'm glad that you share my excitement, and definitely go see the movie Won't You Be My Neighbor. This is not an ad, obviously. No one's paying me. It was just $5 movie day at AMC. I'm excited to continue with my work, feeling really inspired and feeling the sense of confirmation and what I feel from Mr. Rogers, who has always inspired me. But like, it was just like the right time. You know, we were just like that right time, that intersection between like the willingness to see it and then the openness to receive it. And it just like, and magic happens. So I hope it happens for you too. All right, I love you guys. I will see you live. I'm going to start coming to you instead of 11:11s. I'm going to start coming to you at 5:55 on weekdays as often as I can. This week is very exciting for me because I have a doula client having a baby. So the end of the week might be like not showing up, but I'll see you around. And keep commenting, ask questions if you have them, and use the links in my video description to join me on Patreon, in my private Facebook community. Go see the movie, buy my book, do all the things. I'll see you soon.
Hi, I'm Rebekah Borucki, founder of BEXLIFE.com and author of You Have 4 Minutes to Change Your Life. Have you always wanted to try meditation, but you didn't know where to start? Are you ready to get all those benefits you've been hearing about, but you're convinced that you don't have time, your head is way too busy, or you're just not spiritual enough? Well, I have some